not much else I have to talk about other than the fact that my mock draft hopefully is coming out sometime this week.
Shut up.
This year's draft is filled with tons of prospects. Future superstars, young guys budding with potential, everybody's ready for this day. This is where dreams come true, where history is made, and maybe even where one team can get one step closer to a championship. Welcome to the Speedy Hoops 2023 NBA Mock Draft, where I'll give my picks for who I think each team should pick in this year's draft. Just remember, this is what I think should happen, not what I think will happen. Just had to make that clear. Now, let's get started.
What is that?
Now, starting off, I'd like to thank all the people who came out here to represent today, all the players, coaches, fans, and everybody who came just to see this wonderful...
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Let me stop talking. With the first pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the San Antonio...
It's Victor, alright? It's Victor. The Spurs were not good this year, at all. They clearly were aiming for a tank this year, and they showed this by trading their all-star DeJounte Murray away back in June of last year. And now, as you can see, the tank has paid off. Victor Wembanyama stands at 7'3", 229 pounds, but that's subject to change. He averaged 20.6 points per game, 10.1 rebounds per game, and 3 blocks per game as a member of the Metropolitans 92. At the age of 19, he's the most hyped up prospect since LeBron in 03, and he looks like he'll live up to the hype. He can score around the basket, he can shoot, and his freakishly long arms make him a great post defender. My player comparison for him is a taller, longer Kevin Durant. The Spurs look to him to be the next franchise piece for the next few years. Some questions I do have are about his perimeter defense. He's a big guy, so how will he defend when switched on to quicker, smaller guards like Trae Young and Kyrie Irving? I also wonder how he'll defend big guys with a skinny frame. Bigs like Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic might have fun playing with him if he doesn't get his weight up. For the most part though, Victor looks like a future star and the obvious first pick.
With the second pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Brandon Miller from Alabama University.
The Hornets struggled this past year. With LaMelo out from injury and Bridges out for felony, the Hornets won a total of 27 games, enough to give them the second pick in this year's draft. Brandon Miller is a 6'9", 200-pound forward from Alabama, and he's exactly what the Hornets need. In uni, he averaged 18.8 points per game and 8.2 rebounds per game on 43, 38, 85 shooting. He has a deadly three-point shot, and he can also finish at the basket. He's a great rebounder, good at getting to his spots, and he has a great frame for playing defense. My player comparisons for him are Paul George and Brandon Ingram. LaMelo could use another scoring option to dish assists to, and while the Hornets do have a bit of a hole at center, I trust that Mark Williams can take over that spot. I have no real questions about Miller, because he looks like a pretty complete player, and a great second pick.
With the third pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Portland Trailblazers select Amen Thompson from Overtime One.
You need to leave!
Now before you go down to that comment section, let me explain. First of all, this is assuming the Blazers trade Dame and head for a rebuild. If you want to hear me talk about that situation more, click the card in the top right corner, and there might also be a link in the description. Now about the pick. Yes, I know, Scoot Henderson is the highly speculated third pick, but I think Amen is the right pick. For one thing, Scoot is a great player, but he's 6'2". The Blazers, assuming they trade Dame, will have Anthony Simons as a key piece of the rebuild. Simons is 6'3", and remember the last time Portland built around a small backcourt? I think Amen's size at 6'7" will help make sure the cycle doesn't repeat itself. Also, it's not like Amen is a significantly worse player than Scoot. Amen is a 6'7", 200-pound guard out of Overtime Elite, the newest way to make it to the NBA. In the Overtime Elite League, he averaged 16.4 points per game, 5.9 assists per game, and 5.9 rebounds per game. He's a great ball handler and a great finisher, with a pretty deep bag. He's also pretty athletic with good defensive instincts. My player comparisons for him are a taller John Morant or Kyrie Irving. Some questions I have about him are his shooting and his frame. He's a bit of a skinnier player with a flashy playstyle, so I wonder if injuries will be a problem. His shooting is okay, but pretty untested, so I also wonder how that will translate to his NBA career. I still think though that this is the right pick for Portland. By the way, Amen is from Oakland, just like Dame. I don't know if that really adds to his case, but I still thought it was interesting.
With the fourth pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Houston Rockets select Scoot Henderson from the G League Ignite.
This is the perfect pick for Houston. The Rockets have tons of young players with tons of potential. What they need is veteran leadership, and while Scoot isn't a veteran, he for sure brings leadership. Scoot is a 6'2", 195-pound point guard from the G League Ignite. In the G, he averaged 21.2 points per game, 6 assists per game, and 4.3 rebounds per game. He's an athletic freak and an amazing finisher at the rim. He has pretty good defensive instincts and is a clutch, winning player with an impressive handle. My player comparisons for him are Russell Westbrook and Derrick Rose, as he has an extremely similar playstyle. I do question his shooting on the perimeter, but I've heard that he's training to improve his shot from beyond the arc. He also is possibly prone to injuries with the D Rose-like playstyle, but that's always a concern with athletic rookies. Regardless, I think this is the perfect pick for Houston, and it'd be a crime for Scoot to go past 4.
With the fifth pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Detroit Pistons select Oscar Thompson from Overtime Elite.
The Pistons were very bad this past season. With Cade out from injury most of the year, they immediately went for the tank, aiming for Wemby. They ended up with the 5th pick, and while it's not the ideal outcome, Oscar Thompson is still a great option at this pick. Oscar Thompson is a 6'6", 218-pound wing out of Overtime Elite. Alongside his twin in the league, he averaged 16.3 points per game, 6.1 assists per game, 7.1 rebounds per game, and 2.4 steals per game. He's a pretty good ball handler, and he knows how to finish in the post. He's a good shooter with a smooth jump shot, and a pretty good passer. He has great reflexes and decent size for a guard, which makes him a pretty good help defender. His size also gives positional versatility as he can guard players at multiple positions. My player comparison for him is a more defensive Devin Booker. The Pistons have their top 2 options in Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, and they could use a good defensive player to complete the Pistons' young core. I question his shooting because I wonder how it will translate to the NBA. I also question how the competition he faced in the Overtime Elite League compares to the competition other prospects face in college, overseas, and etc. This question also applies for his brother, Amen, but I'm pretty confident that the twins will live up to the hype.
With the 6th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Anthony Black from the University of Arkansas.
No!
What? It's Arkansas.
No!
Arkansas? That don't even make sense. What's the point of the other?
The Magic probably had the 2nd deepest young core in the league, with young players like Franz Wagner, Rookie of the Year Paolo Banchero, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, and a few others. What they could use is a pure playmaker to bring it all together, and Anthony Black fits perfectly here. Anthony Black is a 6'6", 210-pound point guard out of Arkansas. In college, he averaged 12.8 points per game, 5.1 rebounds per game, 3.9 assists per game, and 2.1 steals per game. He's a good catch and shooter and a great finisher. He's so fast, if he was in 2K, he'd have the quick first step badge. He's a very good facilitator and skilled at getting his guys open. He has good size for a guard, which adds to his defense. My player comparison for him is a taller John Morant. He fits well with the Magic as he can help play make for Franz and Paolo. and he can also help as a catch-and-shoot option on the perimeter. He also provides some defensive versatility with his size. I do question how good his handle will be against NBA defense, and if injuries will be a problem with his slashing playstyle. But for the most part, this is a great pick for Orlando.
With the 7th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Indiana Pacers select Taylor Hendricks from the University of Central Florida.
The Pacers have their backcourt of the future with Tyrese and Ben, and they have some good young bigs. I think Taylor Hendricks is the perfect fit in this young core. Taylor Hendricks is a 6'8", 214-pound forward. In uni, he averaged 15.1 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, and 1.7 blocks per game. Hendricks is a great rim runner and pretty athletic. He's also a great catch-and shooter and a decent passer. His most valuable asset, though, is his defense, as he's a great help defender, good at getting blocks with his long arms, and a decent defender on the perimeter. My player comparison for him is a shorter Jaren Jackson Jr. He doesn't have a great handle, and I wonder how he finished at an NBA level. But this is why Indiana is the perfect place for him. Indiana already has ball handlers. All Hendricks has to do is shoot the ball and play defense. This is why the Pacers should draft Taylor Hendricks.
With the 8th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select Kobe Buffkin from the University of Michigan.
Kobe Buffkin is a 6'4", 187-pound guard. In uni, he averaged 14 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game, and 2.9 assists per game on 48, 35, 84 shooting. He's very fast and a good finisher who can finish through contact. He's a great mid-range shooter and a good spot-up three-point shooter with a quick release. He's also a pretty good ball handler with good pass vision. He's a great on-ball defender and good at getting blocks off the ball. My player comparisons for him are a younger Damian Lillard or a Donovan Mitchell. He does have a skinnier, lighter frame, and he relies a lot on screens to get open, but I still think this is the right pick for Washington. With Beal gone, the Wizards are in need of a star, and Kobe has that potential. He has the potential to be the number one option of a team. And I mean, look at his name. How could you not believe in this guy? Now, this was originally going to be end of the Kobe Buffkin section, but after the Jordan Poole trade, I do have to add on a little. Even though Jordan Poole does have a very similar play style to Kobe Buffkin, and he also plays the same position, I still think that Kobe Buffkin's the right pick because they can both play together in the backcourt. Poole has played some point guard in Golden State, and they should be fine. So Kobe Buffkin is still the right pick.
With the 9th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Cason Wallace from the University of Kentucky.
The Jazz have a nice young core with some size and some scoring. They could use a playmaker to help bring things together. Cason Wallace is a 6'2", 195-pound guard out of Kentucky. In uni, he averaged 11.7 points per game, 4.3 assists per game, 3.7 rebounds per game, and 2 steals per game. He's pretty athletic, and like Anthony Black, if he was in 2K, he'd have the quick first step badge. He's a great finisher and a great catch and shooter, with a nice pull-up jumper. He moves off the ball and has nice court vision, which he uses to find his teammates for easy assists. His defense is a very valuable asset, as he has great instincts off the ball, and plays good defense on the ball as well. My player comparison for him is De'Aaron Fox. He's a smaller guard and doesn't have as much of a bag, but that also makes him a good fit for the Jazz. The Jazz already have size, and they have Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson, two nice scorers with deep bags. Cason Wallace fits perfectly with the Jazz and fulfills their needs. Also, I know that point guards shouldn't be thrown into a system and expected to thrive all the time, but I think Cason Wallace on the Jazz works. To be honest, he could have gotten a pick earlier.
With the 10th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Grady
The Mavericks have two of the best shot creators in the league, but they didn't even make the play-in. Dallas could use an NBA-ready guy who can add some much-needed help. Grady is a 6'6", 204-pound wing out of Kansas University. In uni, he averaged 14.1 points per game, 5.1 rebounds per game, 1.7 assists per game, and 1.4 steals per game on 44, 40, 85 shooting. He's a great finisher and a great shooter with a smooth jump shot. He's also a pretty good ball handler with decent court vision. He hustles to get rebounds and is good at disrupting offenses. My player comparison for him is low-key Klay Thompson, or maybe a better shooting Gary Payton II. I mentioned in my notes that he'd be great in a Warriors-type offense, because he never stops moving. But unfortunately, they don't have a pick this high. He still fits well in the Mavs though. With two primary ball handlers in Luka and Kyrie, Dallas could use a player who plays good defense and is still valuable off the ball. I do think he'd be perfect for the Warriors, but Grady deserves to go this high.
With the 11th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Dereck Lively II from Duke University.
The Magic have their main young core established, but they could use some size in the post, with Wendell Carter Jr. standing at just 6'10". Dereck Lively II is a 7'1", 230-pound center out of Duke University. In uni, he averaged 5.2 points per game, 5.4 rebounds per game, and 2.5 blocks per game on 65% shooting from the field. Dereck is a great pick-and-roll player, and good at catching lobs to throw down ferocious dunks. His size makes him hard to box out and a great defensive presence down low. My player comparison for him is Rudy Gobert. He can play make from the post and he can shoot. The question is if he can do it consistently. It's also questionable if he can score against NBA bigs and if he can guard multiple positions. But I think this is still a good pick for Orlando. The Magic could use a big foundation down low to add size along with post defense, and that's what Dereck Lively II brings.
With the 12th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Jett Howard from University of Michigan.
The Thunder have Shai as their star and number one option, and Giddey alongside him to provide playmaking. They could use another great scorer for Giddey to dish assists to. Jett Howard is a 6'8", 215-pound forward out of Michigan. In uni, he averaged 14.2 points per game, 2.8 rebounds per game, and 2 assists per game on 41, 36, 80 shooting splits. He's a deadly catch and shooter, but he can also create his own shot with his impressive handle. He's a decent finisher and he draws the defense toward him as a threat, opening up the offense for other guys. He can play off the ball, which is useful for the Thunder, who have two ball-dominant players. He's also pretty good at getting blocks. For my player comparison, I put Trevor Ariza / Chris Middleton, but I put a question mark because I didn't think either one described him that well. I guess the best I could do is say he's a mix of both. He's not projected by most to go this high, but I believe in him, and I think he'll be a perfect asset for the Thunder.
With the 13th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Toronto Raptors select Keyonte George from Baylor University.
The Raptors have tons of great defensive forwards, bigs, and wings. They could use a scoring guard who could add help as another scoring option. Keyonte George is a 6'4", 185-pound guard out of Baylor U. In uni, he averaged 15.3 points per game, 4.2 rebounds per game, 2.8 assists per game, and 1.1 steals per game. He's an amazing shooter with deep range. He also has a crazy handle and a deep bag, which makes it easy for him to create shots for himself. He's a good finisher, can go through contact and draw fouls. He's very quick on his feet and can jump, which makes him an active blocker on defense. He's a quick passer and can draw on the defense to find open guys. My player comparison for him is a prime James Harden, because that's the player he reminds me of. I do wonder how he'll deal with NBA defenders, and how he'll guard other guards in the league. I still think this is a good pick for Toronto because they're in need of shot creators and guards, and they already have great defense. Keyonte fits their needs perfectly.
With the 14th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the New Orleans Pelicans select Nick Smith Jr. from the University of Arkansas.
The Pelicans have defenders and their two main stars. They could use another scoring option to provide some help off the bench, and I think Nick Smith Jr. works great here. Nick Smith Jr. is a 6'5", 185-pound guard out of Arkansas. In uni, he averaged 12.5 points per game, 1.7 assists per game, and 1.6 rebounds per game. He's a pretty good ball handler and can create his own shot. He moves off the ball to get open and is a good shooter. He's quick on his feet and a good finisher. He's also a good fast passer and a decent off-ball defender. My player comparisons for him are Jordan Poole and Lou Williams. There are questions about his frame and his defense, but overall I still think he fits well in New Orleans. He brings another scoring option for the Pelicans, and that can be useful when guys like Zion and Brandon Ingram get injured.
So there it is. Those are my picks for this year's NBA Draft. Remember, this is what I think should happen, not what I think will happen. We'll see if it ages well. But for now, that'll be it for me today. If you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, share, comment down below any tips, tricks, or topics you have me to talk about. Turn on notifications so you get notified about new videos. And have a nice day. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.